So I'll turn on my teacher voice without that teacher attitude. I'll try. So I was invited to talk about urban sketching because a lot of people said that they didn't quite know. I mean, you're all artists and you're all watercolorists and you all paint beautifully, but a lot of people didn't quite know what the urban sketching movement was about. And so some of us have joined the Urban Sketches of Las Vegas, and we go out and we sketch. And so we thought we'd share our ideas and what we do with you. Okay, so I'll start off with the history of urban sketching and how it all began. Urban sketching all began with Gabriel Compañero. Gabby is a Spanish illustrator and a writer who lives in Seattle, and he works for the Seattle Times. And he's a very well-known artist, and his sketches were always available on the Seattle Times. And so people kept asking him if they could learn how to sketch like him. And so he started a group to support and promote journalistic drawing, depicting the real life around that the artist had around them. There are lots of artists, obviously, in Seattle. But what they were doing is they were going out and they were drawing what they saw in front of them. And they were telling the story of what they could see in the various areas they'd been to. And so he started up with a very small group of about 100 artists. They were invited artists, and he put them on Flickr, and they did very well. And he said, this group of sketchers who love to draw cities where they live, from windows of their homes, from cafes, from a park, standing by a street corner, wherever they live, and from location, they had to be on location, or it had to be while they were traveling. And so that was what he had in mind, and it became their manifesto, really. But that's how they started off. In 2008, Gabby started what was called Urban Sketches blog, and that's when I said it was limited to 100 artists. And then in 2009, he went to a nonprofit organization that they had tax, I guess nonprofits have tax rebates and stuff like that, and had a board of directors, and they were charged with a mission to raise artistic storytelling and educational value on location, promoting its practice and connecting people worldwide to draw on location and where they live or where they travel. And he started with his group in Seattle, and there were people who'd come in and sketch with him on a monthly basis. And then gradually this took over, and the vision and values was we draw on location, indoors or out, capturing what we see from direct observation. Our drawings tell the story of our surroundings, the places we live in, and where we travel. Our drawings are a record of time and place. We're truthful to the scenes that we witness. So you draw what you see. We use any kind of media and cherish our individual style. We support each other and draw together. We share our drawings online, and we show the world one drawing at a time. This movement, the Urban Sketches movement, started in 2009. And ever since, every year, there are, I think, 70 cities that are represented, 470 communities all over the world. They're in Singapore, they're in all over Europe, all over Asia, all over Australia, all over South America, everywhere. There are in the United States, there are urban sketching groups everywhere. And can you go back one? Did I miss something? Okay, let's go on. Yeah, go forward. That's fine. No, that's fine. And they have So this is the urban sketching global community, and if you're interested, you can go into urbansketches.org because it's a nonprofit organization, and you can see a lot more information of all around the world, different places, and they have, I think, the board of directors are people from all over the world as well. So there's plenty to see on that. Urban Sketches supports and represents grassroots communities of sketchers, 120 members in 450 cities in 70 countries now. That's absolutely amazing. In 2019, the Urban Sketches milestone passed 300 worldwide chapters. Now, during the pandemic, when people couldn't go out in person and sketch, they went on Zoom. And our community, our urban sketching community, went on Zoom as well. And so somebody would post a theme, let's do something in Delhi. And so they post photographs in Delhi, and then we just sketched from what we saw during the Zoom meetings because we couldn't go in person. The symposiums are held every year, but during the pandemic, they didn't have one in Singapore that they had planned because remember there was all that rioting in Singapore at one stage. So that was canceled. And the next one after that was canceled as well. So the last one that they had was in 2023 in Auckland, New Zealand. And I tried going on one of those symposiums, and they say, okay, we're going to open at midnight and such a date. I went in an hour later and was all sold out. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of people congregate. And the one in Porto, the photograph before that, this one. This is one of our sketches from Las Vegas. And these are all the people. This is Amy Atkins. These are her sketches. And there are workshops, and there are people meeting, and there are talks, and there's all of these providers, Daniel Smiths and Winsor Newton and all the sketching books people they all provide lots and lots of goodies, and you can go and buy stuff, and apparently it's a fantastic meeting, and it lasts for a week. So it's really good. The next one is in Buenos Aires in October of next year. Yeah. Now, the Urban Sketches of Las Vegas, this is our group. And then this is Eric. He's also a member of the Watercolor Society. Eric Roberts is the one who started the Urban Sketching Group in Las Vegas. These are about how many people you will see every time we meet. Can you show me the next one? So that's Eric. And this is our events calendar for this next few months. So next Sunday, we're meeting at the Little Church of the West, the one on Las Vegas and Russell, Las Vegas Boulevard in Russell, that tiny, cute little church that there is. Are you familiar with it? So we're going to be meeting there at 10 o'clock in the morning for a couple of hours to sketch, draw, paint, do what you want. So I hope you can come to that one. The one after that is it's a Saturday, yeah. They're always on a Saturday. The next one after that is at Hoover Dam, the Red Rock Overlook. So you don't have to pay to go into Red Rock. It's just at the Overlook. Ice Age Fossil State Park. I'm not too sure where that is. Is it new? Is it? I don't know what that is. Okay. And then at the wetlands, which is our favorite place, Nevada Supreme Court. Yep. And at the Uncommons. Do you know what the Uncommons is? It's an eatery on 215 and Durango, just across the road from the new casino. And it's a fun place. It's lots of eating places and cafes, and it's architecturally very interesting as well. Some of us have already been and sketched in there. So that's a fun place. So you just bring your own materials, your own sketchbook. You can do pen and pencil, you can do colored pencils, whatever material you want. It doesn't have to be watercolor. Usually a sketchbook, and then come in, meet up with people, and at the end of it, we have what's called a throwdown. I think you're familiar with a throwdown, where everybody puts their work down on the floor and we look at each other's work and admire it and take a photograph and take a group photograph, like you saw the previous ones. And that's it. We're done. Okay? Sorry? Do you want to go to the next one? So here's a very quick, what do you need to do when you join the urban sketching group? Nothing. Does it cost anything? No. Just show up. You don't have to pay anything. You don't have to sign up for anything. Just come up and say, I'm interested in sketching, and that's it. You're in. Okay? You bring your own supplies, whatever you want, right? Wear clothing and be comfortable depending on our weather, which can be very hot or quite cold. And so dress appropriately, bring a chair if you need to, bring an umbrella if you need to, whatever you need for your comfort. Pack your snacks and your hydration because we're in the desert. Share your ideas, make friends, talk to people. We're a whole group of people here that we've got to know each other. We enjoy sketching with one another now, right? Have fun learning. Talking about materials, I follow Brenda Swenson. Is anybody familiar with Brenda Swenson? She's a watercolorist, a sketcher in Pasadena, California. I absolutely love her. I've taken her workshop. And she has a cheap little bag that she bought at Harbor Freight. Doesn't cost more than $7 or $8. And she took away all the stitchings that she didn't need on it, and she fills it with all her stuff. And then she uses it as a little stool onto which she puts her palette and her water and everything else. She's got a little chair, and that's how she sketches. So we thought that might be a good idea. These are some of the materials that people take with them. And my friends here will be showing some of their materials as well and what they take along with them to go sketching. I basically carry my purse with me that always has a tiny little sketchbook into which I just do pen and ink drawings in it and 2 pens with me. I go to the doctor's office quite often now because I have either myself or my husband, and I spend my time sketching people in there or at the airport or anywhere else. So it doesn't matter who you sketch, what you sketch. That's my presentation, but we're going to go on. Okay, this is not the end of it. Does anyone have any questions about urban sketching right now? Could you go back on that? Urban sketches have this one. Yeah, no, the one with this one. Urban Sketches on Facebook have a site, Urban Sketches Las Vegas. And if you hit the events tab, you'll see all of this on the events tab. Any other questions? How many would you be interested in sketching today? Good. We're coming to it. Becca is now going to be talking to you about, a lot of you have done plein air sketching. You know what plein air is, right? And so she's going to be talking about plein air and urban sketching. Thank you.
My name's Becca Youngblood. I'm a pretty new member as of last fall. I'm going to chat a little bit about the differences, similarities between urban sketching and in plein air. Can everybody hear me okay, or do I need to speak louder? Louder, louder. Okay, I will try. Here? Okay. Next slide, please. All right, so what is in plein air painting? It is a French phrase. It means in the open air. Pronunciation, some people say in plein air, some people say in plein air. I don't know that it makes a difference. However, to the French people, it might. I am not French. I do not know. It was first used in 1891. It evolved from sketching in the open air, which dates back to the Renaissance period. With the invention of the paint tube and the field easel, that is what then allowed artists to leave their studio and bring their paint supplies with them into the field to paint. Prior to that, they made it all within their studios. It allowed artists to document a landscape in a way that had not been done before, as landscapes were really just seen as a backdrop to mythological paintings. Painting in plein air made landscapes an acceptable subject, and we can see that within the Impressionist movement, which is synonymous with in plein air painting. Next slide, please. So some famous original in plein air painters would be John Constable. He did a lot of studies with oil out in the field, and then he would go back to his studio to then actually produce the final and finished works. Claude Monet would go out and revisit the same location multiple times to capture that light and make finished pieces. John Singer Sargent, another beautiful painter capturing light. There were not as many known women plein air painters during that time with the Impressionist movement. There were a few women, Berthe Morisset, Mary Cassatt, and Eve Gonzalez, but they didn't do as much in plein air painting because it just was not acceptable for women to be seen out and about painting. Some contemporary plein air artists, David Hockney, he is known for taking multiple giant canvases out into the field and being there for weeks on end and paints stunning pieces. And then a friend of mine, Clara Meisch, she's from Alaska. She takes all of her stuff out onto a glacier, paints huge canvases, then deconstructs it, puts it back in her pack, and hikes back off the glacier with her pieces. Yeah, so it's come a ways. Next slide. Yes. Okay, so the similarities between urban sketching and in plein air. Both are painting or sketching on location from observation and not a photo or your memory. Both do have schools of thought that the artist must be true to the scene that is in front of them, not as much artistic license. And then both can be used as studies of a place that might inform work that is done back in the studio. Both do expose you to the elements and to people walking past who may choose to observe you, or they may even decide to interact with you. A lot of times when our group is out urban sketching, there's enough of us around that people like to walk up and look over our shoulders, see what we're doing, have a chat sometimes, find out what the group is about. It was a little strange the first time it happened to me with people talking to me because I'm a little more of an introvert, and you get used to it. Next slide, please. The differences. So urban sketchers tend to work more in a sketchbook, but an artist painting in plein air, they may instead work on canvas, board, or paper. An in plein air painter working on canvas, board, or paper may be creating a finished piece versus doing a study or a sketch in their sketchbooks. Another difference would be that urban sketchings, I feel, is a little more spontaneous. So I may be out and about and I see a scene that I really like. I have time, I can plop down and do a 5-minute sketch and then move right along. A painter that is making work in plein air can take days to complete one piece. They might revisit that site daily or at a certain hour when the light is just right, whereas an urban sketcher is drawing and painting in a much shorter time period and then moving right along. So I associate urban sketching with more urban environments and in plein air with more natural environments. However, an artist can also be painting in plein air in an urban environment. So it's very loose. But ultimately, urban sketching is a descendant and continuation of the in plein air movement. Next slide. So I see urban sketching as a way to document my own life, just like the creator Gabby intended when he began the urban sketcher movement. It's a travel journal that I can take a look back through. I find that the paintings and drawings in my sketchbooks have more memories attached to them than a photo album does because of the time that I spent observing the sights, the sounds, and the smells around me. My sketchbooks tell the story of my life and are precious to me. Sometimes those sketches influence work that I create back in my studio, and other times they're just lovely reminders of time well spent. Urban sketching for me is as much about documenting my experience, but also the social aspect of meeting folks all over the world. When I traveled to Dublin last year, I was able to join the Dublin Urban Sketchers group, and I now have connections there. They shared with me that their next event was going to be at a castle with a moat, and they had exclusive access to go and sketch there for a day. I was very jealous that I did not get to be there that week. So urban sketching, it opens up so many opportunities, and it is such a laid-back group of folks who like to draw all over the world. We all swap info and our favorite tools, and inevitably I leave our meetings with another item on my shopping list. More. And one more, please. So my favorite things about urban sketching is that I am never bored, because if I don't have my kit with me, I always, at least like Pam, have a sketchbook and a pen, so I can spend time on the plane, in the doctor's office, wherever I'm not bored. I also get to soak in my surroundings a lot longer than if I just snapped a photo and kept going. So for me, the memories of that place are a lot stronger. And then I get to meet and befriend other artists, and I get the best souvenir from my trip or day. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Leslie Nielsen, and Pam asked me to come and to show you my materials that I use when I'm urban sketching, and also some sketchbooks so that I can show you some examples. And okay, so I'm going to have to get a sense for how to go about doing this. I should have practiced ahead of time, shouldn't I? And maybe may I just also start by saying that I'm extremely flattered that Pam invited me, because I really consider myself quite a novice. I really have just taken up drawing, sketching, and watercolor painting since retirement. So this is really kind of a new thing for me, and I'm extremely humbled to be in the company of such accomplished watercolors. I'm very flattered and appreciate being here.
Recording in progress.
So, first of all, my kit, my materials, I like to, I'll show you this way. I like to bring them in a very small clear container so that I can see what I need and pick it out. I really like to be able to see it and pick it out. It's convenient, it's lightweight, and I think it's really slick. So I'll just pull everything out real quick and kind of show you what I use. Mostly you can see, oh, that's pretty good. You can see that I use just a mishmash of different brands of travel brushes. I have just recently done this to my pencil, and that is to put little marking numbers on it so that I can, kind of get a sense for, it's like a measurement, it's my own little measurement tool. I have a little viewfinder. You're probably familiar with these, so you can kind of decide, what it is you want to capture. Some kneadable erasers. I like to stamp a date on it. And then I have a little cool little scumbling brush for foliage. I like to use straight angle. Stephanie Bauer told me it was okay, and I respect her. She's a really great urban sketcher. One of my favorite things in my kit is my list of things to bring. So I never forget any of my tools or my stool and all things. So, it's my sketchbook, my pencils and pens, clips, rubber bands, erasers, blah, 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 snacks, chapstick, Kleenex, chair, hat, phone. Because you got to have your phone to make sure that you can take a picture also, in case you want to. In my case, I like to finish my work when I get back home. Chapstick. I originally took a watercolor class from Gabby Hirsch at UNLV Continuing Education. You may know her. And so these things are things that I got from Gabby, so that in case you want to do a little scratching or you want some salt, you have that handy. And let's see, then I just use this for my water. So in case I was on a ferry boat once and trying to do some sketching in Seattle last summer, and sure enough, I had that dirty water and I was able to close it up and pack it away because I had no place to put it. So that's what I use for my water. And then my actual palette is a cigarette case that you can see I have taken the cords off, and I have from Art Toolkit, I have the little mixing pans, and it's just the handiest little palette. Now, it would be perfect if it would lie flat. It doesn't, it kind of bends. But anyway, and you can see I haven't really cleaned up here. And then, so I also have the, let's see how this is. Oh, it's pretty good. It's pretty well centered. This is what I thought was in it, but I think I actually have the different yellow, and I think I even have a different blue in there right now. But so that's my palette. And it's very convenient. If I'm going to sit at home and paint and sketch, I use the same materials because these are the ones I'm used to. It's right in my kitchen on the counter, and it's convenient to grab, and off I go. So those are my materials, and it really works for me. Oh, then a Posca pen with a little bit of acrylic white, which comes in handy, as I'm sure you all might agree. Of course, that would be, you would not be able to use acrylic in here, right? You have to use the white gouache probably. So, oh, you can't. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, good point. Oh, okay. See, I don't know. The other thing that I would point out to you that I haven't actually used yet is called a stablo. Maybe you've seen it. It's kind of a cool little contraption where you can, have your water here and your pencils or pens and your paintbrushes here, and you can actually put your sketchbook in it, tuck it in. Now, I haven't actually practiced with it very much yet because I find that it's easier for me when I'm sketching to be able to turn my sketchbook around. So I'm not really using it, but it is a pretty cool resource, and I probably will get used to using it at some point. So don't forget the chapstick. Pardon? Oh, stablo. It's French. Stablo. Stablo. Yeah. Oh, and the one other thing to point out about it, I guess is really wonderful about it, is that it's magnetized. So my otherwise not flat, this actually it's magnetized, so it hangs on there. Yeah, it's kind of slick. So. Oh, that I got on just Etsy, I think. Yeah, that was an Etsy purchase. It comes with nothing other than those two straps for cigarettes. That, yeah, they. So I've put magnetic magnets on the bottom, so that. But I do drop it. Yeah, I've dropped it so many times, and it just goes all over the place. But the pans, boy, they're just at Blick. Yeah, they're just at Blick. Yeah. No, not Art Toolkit. No, Blick. The little half pans, the plastic. No. So let me show you a little bit about my my sketching adventures. First of all, I just want to say that urban sketching to me, I don't really follow the manifesto too closely in terms of having to always sketch on location. I really probably love to be with the group sketching on location, but I'm very slow. So I would have a hard time finishing a project out with my friends. And so oftentimes I'll finish at home. But I think I will focus today just on showing you the ones that I really did sketch on location. And so that would start with, so yeah, I'm going to have to do something to cover up the one I don't want you to look at. Yeah. Oh yeah, zooming in would be a good idea if you can't. This would have been, it's okay. I'm okay with it. Yeah, I'm very flexible.
The way you zoom is you lift it up.
Oh, good point. Good point. Good point. I can see now. I should have practiced early. So this is I would call this my very first urban sketch. And so you can see it was in the summer 2020, and I was out camping with my grandsons in Colorado. So there you can see we were cooking up some breakfast, and so yeah, I think that would be my first one. And then this might be my second one. Again, I was having a kitchen remodel done, and so this was Mark Quas installing my cabinets in my kitchen, and he had no idea I was sketching him, but it really looks like him. So I was very happy with the way that turned out. And then finally, I was in Provo, Utah, where my nephew was getting married, and I was not going into the temple because I'm not a practicing member of the church. And so I was outside sketching while they were inside the temple getting married. And so this was in Provo in 2021. So that's an early urban sketch done on location. So let's see what else I got for you. And tell me if I'm going over time-wise. These are these are projects that are not on location, so I think I'm going to skip them. But I'll save it in case I haven't used up enough time. But may I just say that I took a class from Stephanie Bauer on perspective drawing, and so this is what I consider my Stephanie Bauer lesson sketches. So with the urban sketchers, Las Vegas urban sketchers, this is Ferguson's downtown, and I saw Pam's got one of these too. She was there with me this day in 2022, and so I'm still using pretty much the same watercolors I was using at that time. This was done at Cactus Joe's. If you're familiar with there's the little chapel there. I actually just about 4 or 5 years earlier, my two friends died a couple days apart, and that's where their memorial service was at that chapel. So it was really meaningful to be back there sketching it. Oh, this is not an urban sketch, but I'm going to tell a funny story anyway. I've kind of gone through a process of when I'm reading a book. I like audiobooks, but I like to study the location. Where is this book taking place? I go online and I find pictures so I get a sense of the place. Well, that's what this was. Is just an author, Anthony Horowitz, wrote The Sentence is Death, and so this was right there in that neighborhood. So it's kind of and I've just been doing that again recently. I really enjoy learning about the place and pretending I'm there. Yeah, these other ones. Okay, I can. I guess the other thing I would point out is I really enjoy the Draw This in Your Style challenges that I see on Instagram. And so I will show this one. It's not on location, but this was a Sketch With Me Sunday challenge, and the folks who did the challenging liked it enough to repost mine. So that was kind of fun. Then see what else we got here that's of note. This also was a Cactus Joe's on this is with the Las Vegas Urban Sketchers. And you can see there's not enough contrast in there, so I need to go back in there and fix that one. Everything is all the same value, as you all probably would agree with me. But I still like it. I still enjoy it. This one was with the Las Vegas Urban Sketchers, and you all recognize probably the 7 Magic Mountains. And the people, of course, help give us some perspective. Then I was at the airport picking up my girlfriend, and sure enough, I sat in baggage claim, and I sketched this one. And it's kind of interesting the way the slot machine jumps out in front of baggage claim and the carousel, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's just the way it turned out. So let's see. This is actually my backyard with a group of my friends. So that was definitely done on location. It was kind of fun. I have a eucalyptus tree that didn't really belong where I planted it, so it's now a table for other plants. Then talk about having a place opened up just for us. This was Eric Roberts, our Las Vegas Urban Sketchers leader, arranged for us to go to Las Vegas Ballpark and sketch. So we had the place to ourselves. And so this was done at the Las Vegas Ballpark. So you can probably tell that that's the Red Rock in the background. That's it for those. Pretty sure that's it. Yep. Then let's see what we got here. This one was also with the Las Vegas Urban Sketchers, and we sketched at the October 1 Memorial Garden just last fall. And so that was the view where I sat down and sketched that view. This was a really special day, and there were quite a few of us there that day. I'm going to say about 20 of us there that day. So, and one final sketchbook. You can see I just have a mishmash of books. I leave lots of pages blank. This is one where I sketched with the Seattle Urban Sketchers, and Gabby Kempener, he wasn't with us that day, but we were at the Seattle Sheraton. This was just about 6 or 8 weeks ago, where we were at the Seattle downtown Sheraton sketching the gingerbread houses. And so this was a Willy Wonka hat and a local, what do you call them? Who they make candy and cakes and confectioner, I guess. She had made this anyway, so that's the Willy Wonka hat, cake, I guess. Then this was on location, still in Seattle, just last month, and it's the West Point Lighthouse in Discovery Park. And so the part I really like the way the Olympic Mountains and that other part turned out there anyway. So that's that one. So one other that was not done on location, or a couple more not on location. Is that okay? Fremont Bridge. Again, it was fun. I wanted to sit and sketch there, but the weather was cold and there was too much traffic. So anyway, that's my stack of sketches. So I hope that's fun. Etcher has 100% cotton. I like those, but Hahnemühle and almost anything, Stillman and Byrne. Canson, some of them were just inexpensive ones, so it kind of doesn't matter that much to me. Oh, and one last thing I want to say, and that is urban sketching really to me is all about learning and friendship, because every time we're out, we have such a wonderful time meeting new people and learning new skills and about new, art supplies, which of course we all love. Thank you. Let's see, what is it, 140 pounds? Is that right? Yeah, but I usually kind of like the heavier weight. Yeah. Thanks. Thank you.
Kansas City, my friend overlooking my friend's backyard and onto a golf course behind it. But I did sort of different things on the same page, which I thought was fun. This is out at the state park, Spring Mountain State Park, right? And I went sketching with another sketching friend of ours. I was in Brooklyn recently. My daughter had an injury and I was taking care of her, but every now and again she'd say, "Mom, go away, go do something, go sketch, go do something." So I'd go out and I'd sketch from Brooklyn Heights, Prospect Park. And this is toned paper. This is Stillman and Byrne's toned paper. So they come in tone colors and black and tan. So I think I've just lost the one I was going to show you. Oh, this is with Urban Sketchers at Springs Preserve. So it's a full sheet. Again, it's colored, no, I think I used soluble colored pencils, but I used them as pencils. I did with just a little bit of a few washes here and there. The backyard of my daughter's apartment. And this beautiful building over here, I was so intrigued by it, that's why I started to sketch it. Turns out to be a public toilet. A quick pen and ink sketch again in the back of a bar somewhere. This was urban sketching the Buddhist temple. Yep. Again, we went with friends to Calico Basin, overlooking the mountains over there. I went for a short trip to Pine, Arizona, and that's my husband freezing in the cold. It was cold. This was a pencil sketch, a soluble pencil in Arizona outside my friend's backyard. And the lighting was just absolutely fabulous. The evening sun was hitting right up on those mountains. And I thought that was fantastic. This is a honeymoon sketchbook. That is a concertina one, see? Yep. Cactus Joe's. Sketching up at Desert Shores, I think, again with this sketching group. Ferguson's. And that's one of the sketches there. Cactus Joe's again. Calico Basin. Was it Calico Basin? Yes, it was, yeah. Red Springs, that's right. Yep. So that's my sketches.
Thank you. All right, and then this kit, it's a little wonky right now, but it comes with multiple stacks. I got it off of Etsy, and it's magnetized. And so here's where my mixing palette is, and then I can put as many half pans as I want inside. The magnets are kind of coming out, so I do need to replace those. But I'm able to put in, I've got some gouache, and then the rest is all watercolor, and it's a wonderful little kit. I bring my pins. These are my favorite ones, the Princeton Neptune that come out and then set right there. I do always have a tube of gouache with me, but honestly, when I'm out in the field, I literally never use this. And then I have, of course, some clips because you're dealing with the elements, so sometimes there's wind. This way I can keep my papers from flying away. Sometimes I will have washi tape if I'm feeling fancy and want to have a nice clean edge to my work, but that is not often. So that's my I don't mind carrying all my stuff with me kit. So the other kit I have, I like to go hiking and backpacking, and so I like to bring a lot lighter weight gear with me for that. And that is where I'll use this. So this is a waterproof bag, so that way if I'm out on a backpacking trip and I get rain, I don't have to worry about my sketchbook getting soaked. I bring this sketchbook. It's a Stillman and Byrne beta series, and this is the one I use solely for my backpacking trip and paintings that I do on those trips. I bring this. So just a little vapor flask, and this is what I put my watercolor water into. I try to leave no trace when I'm out in the backcountry, so I will just keep using dirty water for the whole trip because some of my paints have cadmium in them, and I'm not trying to pollute the environment I'm in. Then this is the water cup I bring for backpacking. It's really, really lightweight. This is a Sea to Summit, I think, yeah, Sea to Summit cup. I think they have an even smaller one that I've seen people use that's like shot glass size. And then this is my art toolkit. So I've got my little binder clips. Usually my paintbrush, I'll have like my 2 small paintbrushes in here. And then this is the kit that I use. So art toolkit, they're based out of Seattle. They have all different size kits, but this is the one that I like. So this is my mixing. You can customize your trays. So you can have these really small ones. You can have these slightly larger. They even have bigger pans if you know if you just want to use your 3 primary colors, you could just have that into this. But it's all magnetized and stuck in here, so I can drop this and my paints have never fallen out. But it's really, really lightweight, and they've got a palette that's even half the size of this if you're super minimalist, and then a palette I think that's like twice the size of this if you want everything. So that's my lightweight kit. And then I'll show a few of my sketchbooks. All right. I think it's just really fun. I love So I love drawing from observation. I love getting to sit in a beautiful place and just listen to the sounds going by. If I'm out in nature, a lot of times birds or animals come through, so it just gives me an extra magical experience. But then I have different styles of working within this. Hopefully I've picked some that'll show that. So sometimes I know I only have 15, 30 minutes. And so I know I'm not going to get really detailed with my work. And I'm going to probably just go straight in with watercolor. Other times I have a lot of time to paint. And there'll be a lot more detail because I'll spend the time drawing and then spend the time building up my layers. So it depends. But I love being outside painting more than in the studio. So this is a sketch. I was cold, it was windy. I think my friend let me have about 20 minutes to paint on this. So it also depends on who I'm with and what their patience level is. This friend was patient for 20 minutes. So I did a very quick sketch and then went in with my watercolors and then left with it wet. So I walked to the car with it wet. This was another one up in Michigan. It was a really moody, cloudy day up at a lighthouse there. Let's see. Oops. Sometimes I only have time to do pen and ink, so I bring like a Fuda fountain pen with me and just work with that. I think a lot of urban sketchers use pen only, but then a lot use watercolor because that paint is so lightweight and portable to bring with us. This was an Urban Sketchers Las Vegas trip. We went out to Rhyolite and spent a couple hours out there, which was really fun. I got to do a couple sketches. This one we did set up still lifes at Leslie's house and painted all together. So this one I had a lot of time for. So it's a panorama. It goes all the way across. So I had a lot of time for this one. We were camping, so I had like a couple hours to sit and paint this guy. And then this was in Seattle before a race I was running. I will say sketching outdoors, like especially when I'm traveling, so I like to run, and this was before a marathon, and so I'm a little nervous before a marathon, and this was a great way to just like help calm me down. And okay, and then this is in Austin, Texas at a lovely contemporary art park that has these sculptures just in natural locations. This was another Urban Sketcher Vegas. We went to the Smith Center and all set up in different locations to draw. And this was still that same day. So sometimes I work quickly and I can get 2 paintings in the 2-hour time period. Other times it really just depends on the subject. This one, a group of us met up at a cafe, and so we bought a croissant for the table. When I said I went and met up with the Dublin Urban Sketchers, this was the location that we painted at, was a war memorial park, and then afterwards all went to the bar for drinks and chats. It rained, so this is natural. And then I did a big hiking trip last year through the Alps in France, Italy, Switzerland. It's called Tour de Mont Blanc, and it's a big circuit. You hike from hut to hut. And so I brought all my stuff, and this is in plein air, but it's also urban sketching. So I painted the different glaciers that we encountered throughout that. We took 13 days to do this trek. So I got to sit down usually at the end of the day, not necessarily in the middle of the hiking day, and sketch. Yeah. So this is actually Mont Blanc. It means the White Mountain. But yeah, so this is what I meant by my sketchbooks are just documenting my travels in life. And so this, they're very special to me because I tend to keep, I don't necessarily grab a different sketchbook every time I go somewhere. I usually work through one. So it's like documenting my full year. And then I do have one sketchbook that I do more pen and ink stuff. So I like to go places and try drawing figures. So they're all really, really quick and loose. This was at the Japanese festival last year, and they did like the drum presentation, which was awesome. So I had a lot of fun sketching their movements. But yeah, that's it.
So I was delighted to have the opportunity to do some urban sketching twice with Pam and Becca and Leslie and some other folks. In December it was cold. We met in a coffee shop, and I was busy working on Christmas cards, so I just did that instead of sketching, and it was just fun to be with everybody. And the second time we went to Red Rock Overlook, and I did that sketch. And now we all have the opportunity to do some sketching of our own. If you brought your some paper and pencil, we can all be urban sketchers right now. If you didn't bring paper and pencil, we have some paper and pads and pencils up here. I'll you can move. Feel free to move your chairs around if there's something that's caught your eye out a window, or if you want to paint the person next to you, or sketch the person next to you. Go right ahead. We'll have 15-20 minutes to do this, and then if I'll let you know when to wrap up, and we'll have a throwdown where we put our sketches over there and take a picture for our Facebook page.